Sorry, dumb question, but what is it that you actually do? Hi, I'm Simon Dowling, and if you work as part of a team, here is a really simple but powerful question for you to ask. How well do we truly understand what one another does? Now, despite the simplicity of that question, it strikes me time and time again from the work I do with teams that this is one of the things that really holds teams back from becoming a team that hums. I mean, here's what happens, and see if it seems familiar to you. A team forms at a certain point in time, maybe recently, maybe a long time ago, and it doesn't take long for faces to change, priorities to change, roles to change, people come and go. And at a certain point on that timeline, it starts to become obvious what everyone does. And the moment it becomes obvious, it now becomes stupid to ask the question. And so everyone acts as if they get it. They start making assumptions. Or perhaps even worse, they just lose interest because they don't get it and start to think they're the only one who doesn't. Now, this is really dangerous because the moment that happens, we lose the opportunity to leverage off each other's opportunities, to help one another and to ask for help, to learn from one another, and all the things that are so essential to highly collaborative teams. So what to do? Well, it's kind of simple. Create the space for your team to have a conversation about what each other's role and focus is. And one of my favorite ways to do that is to ask everyone in the team to come to the table ready to talk about their top 3 priorities, 2 or 3. And in talking about those top 2 or 3 priorities that really represent the essence of their work and their role, ask them to talk about what those priorities are or what their focus is, why that's so important and why it matters and why it's representative of their role, and thirdly, what happens if they achieve it and what happens if they don't. By doing that, you create this wonderful kind of 3-dimensional conversation that starts to help us understand each and every person's role. Even better, chart that up on some A3 paper around the room so that you can gallery it and visually see it. Once you've got to that point, the next conversation for the team to have is to kind of sit back and say, well, let's reflect on 3 things. One is, where are the intersections between these various pieces of the puzzle? So the intersections are, where do we kind of impact and cross over with one another? And then related to that is, where are the interdependencies? So where do we need one another? Where do we actually depend on each other's results, each other's timing, each other's research and data, or each other's relationships in order to be able to succeed more fully in our own roles? And then the third element is the interference. Where do we get in each other's way, or where do we slow each other down, or where are we at risk of doing so? So those 3 I's: intersections, interdependencies, and interference. Who would have thought? Turns out there are I's in team. Now, once you've had that creates a great basis for some conversation around how do we take full advantage of those interdependencies, how do we make them truly hum, and how do we also manage some of those points of interference where we're sort of bumping into each other or slowing each other down. And then also just a broader conversation about what's possible. Take the time to do that. If you haven't done it for a while, you might need to invest a little bit of time to get that conversation going. But once you've had it once, then the overhead starts to diminish. It becomes a little more organic. And I'm a big fan of a team taking some time to have that kind of dialogue at least every 90 days, kind of refreshing and understanding. It's a great thing to do also when someone new has joined the team. Anyhow, there you go. How well do we truly understand what one another does? There's some suggestions for how you might enrich that kind of conversation in your team. Have a go. I would love to hear what you think and what you find from it. That's it from me for now. I'm Simon Dowling. We are Making Bold. I will see you next time. What was that? Sorry.